What's up, everyone? I'm your spiritual gardener, here to plant seeds of consciousness. It's just your job to water them. So today we're going to be talking about the moon signs. All right, so we all know our sun signs. We know when we were born. We all know our sun sign astrology. But do we really know our moon sign? That's a big question. So there's the main three pillars of astrology. We've got our rising sign, our moon sign, and our sun sign. We do have, every other planet involved, and they all have other meanings. But those are the three big ones. So we all know a little bit about our sun signs, I'm sure. So I'm going to go over our moon signs today. And our moon signs are important because the moon is how our mind works. This is how our thoughts work. It's our innermost depths of ourselves that not many people get to know. A lot of hidden aspects of yourself, obviously, are mental. So these are parts of yourself that other people don't really know. A lot of times when I'll meet people, I love guessing their signs. It's my way of kind of showing that, astrology is not a bunch of mumbo jumbo, as I can usually call out either their rising sign, their moon sign, or their sun sign. So it's one of the three. I'm always right, okay? But the moon sign, it does represent your mind, your thought process. And like I said, it is your deeper inner self. So knowing this is really important because a lot of times we, may read up about our sun sign and, it does portray a lot of traits that we have, but there is an inner side of ourselves that we're not too aware of. And that's not always portrayed just in one category. We're not all the same. We all have different aspects. So your birth chart's very unique, okay? Nobody has the exact same birth chart, even twins. You're off by a few seconds. Guess what? Your chart's different by a few seconds. So it does make a big difference. So I want to start with the moon signs today, okay? So let's go over this. I'm going to put some timestamps down at the bottom. Check them out if you want to skip forward. I know I do a little blabbing. But yeah, skip forward if you want to find where your moon sign is. Website I recommend is Cafe Astrology. I'll put that down there too. CafeAstrology.com. You can go to obtain your free natal chart and they will give you your birth chart. It might look like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to you. It's a circle with a bunch of stuff, and just look and see where your moon sign is. It'll tell you what's your moon sign, okay? All right, so we're going to start with Aries, since Aries is the start of the season. So it's the start of the astrology. So Aries is represented by Mars. Mars is the warrior. It's the fighter, okay? So people with Aries moons can come off to others a bit aggressive, or other people can find them quite intimidating. And you might not always know why. They're not afraid to speak their mind. That's one thing, that's for sure. They definitely know what they want. They are people that don't have that to question. They know exactly what they want, and they're usually the ones that go right after it. That's why they are the beginning of astrology, the beginning of spring. It gets everything going, But with that, they can go from 0 to 100, just like that. So their mood, can switch. They're very competitive. That's one of the big things. Competitiveness, I'd say, between Leo and Aries. Those are the two most competitive signs of the zodiac. And you'll literally see Aries like winning the race and crossing over the race with like blood all over them, because they will go to any means to win, okay? So they are competitive by nature. Maybe they won't admit this. It does depend on their sun sign, but that's one thing as well. Another thing, they secretly, or maybe not so secretly, love surprises. So that's a big thing. If you have an Aries moon that you're dating or whatnot, surprises are a big thing for them because they like the excitement. They like, they can't kind of stay in one place for too long. They like things to keep the energy flowing. Because of that too, they do have a short patience span, okay? So their patience doesn't really exist. Not the most patient of signs. They can also be a bit impatient or a bit sporadic, also impulsive. So sometimes I can get them into trouble, just depending, They need physical outlet. That's the big thing. If you have an Aries moon, especially during this quarantine time, the absolute best thing you can be doing for yourself right now is working out in some type of way. Because obviously we can't do much. So staying active, they're the warrior. They're represented by the warriors. So staying active, working out, something that's big for Aries moons. That's a good way to ground yourself, stabilize yourself. So a workout routine, add that into your mix if you haven't yet for you Aries moons. So, you know, they do have a healthy mind in the sense of wanting to, you know, keep up with their body and such. So in that aspect, you know, they're good. Also, so they do just have a desire, to, you know, have fun in their lives. It's a fire sign. So, you know, they need to keep things active. You know, if they get bored, then it's kind of like, all right, they're over it. So an Aries moon, this is how your mind is working, okay? It's not the easiest position to have an Aries moon. A lot of people might just consider you to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe in the way that you speak, or you might have like a flip of attitudes people might notice. So that could be one thing as well. A good way to calm an Aries down, like I said, working out is amazing. So Aries moons, work out. That's your big thing. If you can get yourself to meditate too, turn that mind down. That'll also help. But Aries does represent the head, okay? It's the ram. So a good way to calm them down, if you're dating an Aries moon sign, give them a head rub. Give them a little scratch on their head, you know, make them feel good. You'll just see them kind of melt away. So that's one of their favorite things. Some of the famous Aries moons I have here are, we've got Al Capone, Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonder, and Salvador Dali. So those are some of the famous Aries moons for you. All right, so for the next sign, we've got Taurus. Now, Taurus moons, okay? This is where it's dignified. This is the best spot to have your moon in. Taurus is a very grounded earth sign. They do represent earth. They represent, it's a fixed sign too, so it's not like it's in a rush to get things done. So it can, you know, calm its way through its emotions. It's not so much as some of the other signs that are a little bit more sporadic, and you're more likely to catch a Taurus like Netflix and chilling, if that makes sense. Okay, so their mind, when it comes to different ideas, they have the best concentration. So they're one of the best at just staying concentrated on things. It can help you with decisions when you have your moon in Taurus. They're not just very impulsive and erratic with their you know, decisions that they choose to make. They actually calculate it. So they think about it for a while, maybe a week, a few days. Like, they do not make instant decisions. That's a fact. So they're not impulsive, which is good. So that's, you know, a very important fact. They don't want to be erratic and kind of out of control. But the one thing is, like I said, they do take a little bit longer to make those choices. But when they make that choice, it's a good choice. But then the thing from that point is, it's going to be hard to get them to change their mind. So once they're set in their mind and they've got their way set of how they want it to be, it's pretty hard to change their mind. They are a fixed sign. So along with Scorpio and Leo, the energy's fixed there. So it's kind of hard. They're stubborn, a little bit more stubborn than most. They are great. Okay, great at gaining material success. They like the best of the best when it comes to things. So it's like, you know, they want to dress the best. They want to make sure they have the nicest clothing. It's ruled by Venus. So Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love. So everything that revolves around love is what Taurus truly embodies. So they're a great sign emotionally. If it's a partner of yours, for great commitment, you could definitely count on a Taurus moon. They love art. They love, you know, all types of romantic displays. And mind you, it does also implement what your chart has in it. So if you're like an Aquarius sun with a Taurus moon, you might not like romantic displays. So that's a whole other story we get into when we start to use different aspects of the chart. But just for Taurus moon specifically, they're more romantic, they're classy with their style, they're, you know, a little bit more elegant, they're committed partners, and they're just, it's just a very peaceful place. Like every single Taurus moon I've ever met and know to this day, they're cool, calm, and collected. That's the best way to think about them. Cool, calm, and collected. And another thing about them too, if they're in a bad mood or something, give them some food. They're probably hangry. Like 10 out of 10 times, it's probably hanger that's bugging them, okay? So if you want to think of one word for Taurus moon besides loving, would be hangry. So make sure they get their food and they're all good to go, you know what I mean? Some of the famous Tauruses I have here, we've got Mick Jagger, William Shakespeare, and Ronald Reagan. So those are 3 good ones. Those are 3 awesome ones, actually. So you Taurus moons, it's a good position. Next sign, we've got Gemini. Gemini moon. All right, that's me here, okay? So we have the gift of gab. We talk a lot. And sometimes we can get lost in our thoughts. We're represented by Mercury. Mercury is the fastest moving planet, okay? So it zips around the sun the quickest, and it retrogrades every 88 days, which is more than any other planet because all the other planets move way slower. So Mercury, it's not considered a benefic or a malefic planet, which means good or bad. It's hermetic. So it's just, it embodies the both. It's basically the yin yang, okay? A lot of people get the wrong impression of Geminis. It's like, oh, it's the evil twin and this and that. No, okay? I will literally play the devil's advocate to myself. Like, it's the sign of the philosopher, okay? So if you have a Gemini moon, you're constantly needing stimuli. Like, you're needing to research, you're wanting to find new things out. There's a constant need for learning. And if you don't have your mind stimulated in some way, it feels like you're going to go crazy a bit, okay? But being that it's the yin yang, okay, like, the good exists within the bad exists within the good. So, like I said, I play the devil's advocate to myself. Like, I'll come up with my own theories and my own philosophies and whatnot, and then I'll sit there and rebuttal them. And then I'll rebuttal the rebuttal. So it's like, you know what I mean? And this is the other thing. It's represented by the hands. So if you know a Gemini moon or a Gemini in general, we speak with our hands a lot. It's just one way of expressing ourselves. So Gemini moon, it's like Sigmund Freud was a Gemini moon, okay? And he also has Scorpio energy, so that's a lot more sexual and so on. But Geminis just have the love of learning. Like, honestly, all I do is study. All I do is study. And the one downfall, truly, with Gemini moon is we take on so much. Like, we want to learn so many different things that we don't tend to just stay with one subject. So we kind of just get lost. Like, we'll know a lot about, like, if you say something, we'll know something about it. We'll have a few facts to spit at you, but we won't be exactly genius in that subject until we stay in that lane and we focus ourselves on that exact area. So other than that, we can kind of get lost and, you know, in between the lines and whatnot. So it's good to really focus on something that you know you're into. For me, astrology, I can study the stuff all day. So that kind of keeps your mind in a good place, because other than that, you need that mental stimulation. It's the messenger of the gods, as they say, for Mercury. So, you know, Mercury belongs in Gemini, and it's not the easiest spot, like I said. People are going to think of it as like the evil twin, but like I'm trying to express, it's not good or bad. It just has everything to show you. It's here to show you the whole picture. So this idea and perception people have of Gemini is all messed up, okay? Mercury's, if you look back in ancient paintings and stuff, it's one of the most represented symbols in all of paintings and astrology and whatnot, because it's got the little antennas on its head, okay? Because it's able to receive the information that's being given, okay? And the sun is God represented, so it's the messenger of the gods. We are definitely the most open-minded. So that's why a lot of people can get confused by Gemini moons. They think they just change their minds pretty often, or, you know, they're not reliable. But it's the fact that we're so open-minded that, you know, we do take other people's ideas and perceptions in, and we think about them enough till we form a new philosophy on our own, and then, you know, we have a new idea now. So open-mindedness is great, but a lot of people do get confused, and a lot of people aren't open-minded, and then, you know, there you go pointing fingers at the Geminis, but we just like to learn. We're intrigued by mystery, you know, so and what is this whole world? It's just a bunch of mystery. So we're just here trying to figure it all out, you know. It's the rabbit hole. It's literally Alice going down the rabbit hole as a Gemini moon. It's the best way for me to explain it. For some of the famous people, I've got Sigmund Freud, like I mentioned already. Andy Warhol, okay, famous painter. I've got paintings all over my house. Jim Carrey, Gemini moon. Okay, so Gemini moon also can be like the chameleon. Like for me, I have a bunch of different friend groups, and I know for a fact that I cannot put some of them together. Like we all couldn't have like a big party for me. I don't know how my funeral will be then. Because they're so different. You know what I mean? But like when I'm with them, I'm able to adapt to their personalities. It's not that I'm changing who I am. It's just that I have so much vastness, and Gemini moons do have so much vastness that they are able to chameleon-like their way with different groups of people, and they can fit in with all sorts of types of people. So that's a great trait to have as well. A lot of people, though, because of this energy, it comes off as high-strung. Like I said, I'm kind of all over the place when I talk and here and that, so it is a little bit high-strung. A problem I have, and I've noticed with other Gemini moons, is we have a problem with interrupting people. And it's hard to admit this, but the reason being is that we've got so much going on and downloading so fast that it's like we have to get it out. Like for me especially too, because I will forget it 5 seconds later as I'm listening to you, taking in everything you're saying. So I'm not able, you know what I mean? I'm not able to like get this channel and finish what I want to say because I'm listening to you and what you're saying, and then I completely forget what I'm saying. It's a hard moon spot to have, okay? It's a very creative and cool one, but more likely to have anxiety or more likely to have insomnia. So those have been definite things in my life, 100%. The brain just doesn't really want to turn off. Mercury does not stop moving. So it makes sense. But yeah, very witty, sense of humor. Like I said, can get along with any type of group of people. So the chameleon of the zodiac is the best way I can describe the Gemini moon. Also, decision making. Okay, decision making is absolute torture for Gemini moon because there's so many options. It's like we can't just make up our mind on one thing. Like for instance, we're getting a pet here pretty soon, and for the last month, my partner and I, my girlfriend, we cannot come up with a name. We have like 20 names. We're both Gemini moons. Okay? So we're like throwing it out. You probably, if you follow me on Instagram, have seen it. Asking people to help us with the name choices, but it's like decision making is the hardest. It's the hardest for Gemini moons. A good way though for relaxing, if you're Gemini moon, you just want to, staying busy with your hands is good. So maybe like gardening outside, anything technical that you want to do, like jewelry making, literally anything that has to do with your hands can be one thing to kind of keep your mind off of, if you're in that gloomy state of mind. Another one, watching documentaries. That's one of my favorite things to do because you're getting all the facts. You're taking in facts on television and it's keeping your mind active. So that's a good way. Learning new skills, communicating your emotions with friends or loved ones, and just being around people also helps because Gemini is the social butterfly. So it does need communication. It represents communication. So that's very important. So if you have those, if you have someone you can talk to and kind of just, you know, get your feelings out with, or if you can go hang out with people and it'll help you kind of forget those problems, that's the best way to help you if you're Gemini moon and you're kind of in a low space. All right. So a lot to say about myself there. So sorry. Reading books is good too. So for the next sign, Cancer. Cancer is where the moon belongs, okay? So its natural home is in Cancer. So it does well here. Cancer does represent or the moon does represent our emotions. And Cancer is an emotional sign because it's ruled by the moon. These people, though, they're very, very devoted, okay? So if they're in a relationship, it's like they are all about that person. Almost to where it can become toxic. If you are not able to get out of that relationship, a lot of times they're not. And they stay in toxic relationships just because their love for love is so much bigger than anything else that they get stuck in those type of situations and people can take advantage of them. So that's not always fun for them, you know, for anyone. But they're very patient and sensitive. Intuition is high for Cancer moons, as well as being romantic. So if you're dating anybody with a Cancer moon, better bring on the romance because that's what they love. That's the way to win them, okay? But yeah, they're strong emotions. It's like you can feel what they're thinking and feeling just by looking at them. Like it'll just read on their face. If a Cancer moon is upset or happy, or, you know, if you're a Cancer moon, you use your feelings more than your intellect, okay? So this is what can be a downfall. I mean, it's always, you know, people say, you know, follow your heart, and yes, that's important. But a Cancer moon will never not follow their heart. They will always follow their heart instead of their intellect. Okay, so sometimes that's where it can bite them in the butt. Like I said, they're lovers of love, so that can be the downfall. Because they're so sensitive too, they can often suppress their emotions. So it can confuse people sometimes, and it's kind of hard to read them. But like I said, all you have to do is look at their face and you'll know what's on their mind. Most of them they're set in their own pace. So deadlines, time frames, stuff like that doesn't work for them. They have a love for the arts and literature. So normally they do represent the home as well. So you'll find that their home has like a lot of things that are like finely furnished, or, you know, it's all for their comfort. So whatever their comfort is and whatever things that bring them love and joy are what you will see in their house, because it represents the home, literally. So their houses are going to be their main point of safety, and it's going to be their main focal point of their emotions, and they put their emotions into their art in their house, and you can read a lot from them just by seeing what they have in their house, honestly. Another thing with Cancers is impressions with Cancers last forever. They last forever. So they will never forget an impression that you leave with them, okay? So it can be... So impressions with Cancer moons are big because they will never forget a first impression, second impression, third impression. They're just not going to forget, okay? Because they're based on feelings. So whatever you left them feeling with, they're going to remember it. They're not based on intellect. They're going straight on feelings, okay? Another thing too, it's a water sign, okay? So Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio are all water signs. Cancer is a very emotional water sign, okay? Extremely emotional. Probably the most delicate sign of the whole zodiac. It is the most delicate sign of the whole zodiac. So they can become easily hurt by things, even if it's not like, you can try to crack a joke with them maybe, and it might just hit them in like just that spot that hit a little too close to home or something, and you had no means of hurting them, but they will take it so deep to heart that it's like you have to really try to like coast them back out of it. And there's, like I said, they're not going to forget it though. So that's the other hard part, but it's like their emotions are so deep. So they get hurt easily. But this is because they love so grand, you know, their love is just, they have so much love to give that anything that hurts them, they take really, really deep. So they do have greater mood swings than any other sign, but they don't normally last too long, so they'll kind of go through their emotions and get over it eventually. They don't hold grudges too long. They don't forget, so that's the main thing. Also, being alone to them is probably worse than death. Okay, so they would rather not be alive, so to say, than to not have a significant other. So that's very important to them. So just know that if you're dating a Cancer moon, or if you know a Cancer moon, if they're in a bad mood, or if they're, you know, kind of off or whatever, if they don't have someone that they're dating, that's probably why. And if it's not that, then they need a lot of people around them to keep them emotionally fulfilled. So that's a big thing for Cancers. So they definitely need that emotional connection with other people. They're great parents. They are great parents. Literally in astrology, the moon represents the mother. And so can be the greatest of mothers. My mom was a Cancer sun, moon, and rising. Amazing mother. Okay. So a few good ways to help them when they're upset. Okay. Let them Netflix and chill. Like, their favorite thing to do is just to stay at home. Literally staying at home. They're big home bodies. They love to stay at home. They love cooking. So cooking is something that really can help calm them down. Watching TV, just being lazy, really. Like, literally just being lazy. And I'm a Capricorn sun, which is the opposite of the sign of Cancer. But we do embody the traits that the opposite sign has. So I can vouch for this. I love to be lazy when I'm not in the best mood. It's my way to kind of relax. I'm sure a lot of us can say that. Maybe not Aries moons or so, but for Cancers, if they got their pillow, if they've got some food and a TV clicker, that's how they're gonna to get rid of those emotions. Okay, so that's kind of how they ground themselves, so to say. One thing too, Cancers are so big on animals. They are like animal lovers. Animal lovers. They love animals. You might find them rescuing a lot of pets. If they don't have a partner, they might have a pet or maybe several pets. So that's another trait. But they're just big lovers. They love animals and they love people and they just love love. So if they're in their right sense, they're very joyful people to be around. Okay, they're loving. They're very nurturing. They're very motherly. So they want to take care of everybody. Some famous Cancer moons. We've got Tom Cruise, Janis Joplin, Aretha Franklin, and Isaac Newton. So those are a few that I got for you. So a few good Cancer moons there. Next we have Moon in Leo. Okay, so Moon in Leo. So Leo is normally represented by the sun. So they're both the luminaries, the sun and the moon. They're not planets, they're luminaries. They light up the sky. So having it be at its opposite, it's not bad. It does have a lot of different meanings. Leo moons have the least amount of dark, so to say, emotions, I guess. They don't really stay in that kind of mind frame. Being that they're ruled by the sun, and then the moon is your mind. It's like they have the sun on their mind, you know, so it's like it's hard for them to really keep this place of darkness. Like they don't get in those dark moods so often. So that's good. That's extremely important. So it's a good spot to have your moon. If you have a Leo moon, it's a very good placement. Leo moons have strong emotions. They're ruled by the heart. So Leos are ruled by the heart. They're very loving people. And they can also be very sensitive too. So a lot of people don't know this about Leos. You know, we like to put on that tough exterior, and I say we because I'm a Leo rising sign, which we'll get into another day. But, you know, we like to have this tough exterior, but deep down, we're just like, it represents the child, okay? So we're like big babies. We like to have fun, and we like to, you know, keep our minds active and doing stuff that's fun, but we can also be sensitive. And a lot of times we won't voice this, or Leo moons won't voice this, but they might throw like a little bit of a tantrum or something like that. That's kind of how you'll be like, okay, they're not in a good mood. What's going on, Leo moon? What's going on? Okay. They are very dedicated to learning when it's something that they are involved in, like feelings wise. So if their feelings aren't there, they don't care. They don't want anything to do with it, okay? But if they are, then they're very dedicated to whatever it is that they're trying to learn, but it has to be something that they enjoy and want to learn. So it can't just be like, oh, you know, you tell them to go do this and they're like, okay, but they're not interested. So they have to be interested in something for it to be a part of their life. So they are great with like show business type of things. So they are like, they love to be the center of attention. Not all, okay? Like I'm saying, it does depend on the other aspects of your chart. But Leo moons do like to be the center of attention. It helps fulfill their heart. They're the most known to like be on stage and be a performer or an actor or, you know, something with show business type of. That's their thing. It represents the king and the queen, you know, the spotlight. So the sun, spotlight, they want to be seen. So one good thing though is you're not going to be bored with the Leo moon. They'll always find something to do to keep themselves entertained too. So there's not too much boredom. So during this quarantine, they probably come up with all different sorts of ways of, who knows? Let me know, Leo moons. What have you guys discovered during this quarantine? Because share it with me, my Gemini moon here. But Leos do have a love for luxury, of course, because they are the king and queen. It does represent the lion, okay? It represents the king or the queen. It's the royalness. So having someone else tell them what to do and giving them rules, they're gonna probably do the exact opposite or just act like they didn't even hear you type of thing. So don't try to bog a Leo moon down with too many rules. They're not going to be down with it. They might just rebel just to show you that they're not down. But they do have so much energy when they're with other people. They love to be around other people. They're social butterflies as well. And they just love having friends, you know. It's like, it's the popular one. They're the popular sign. So they're good at bringing other people back up. So if you're in a bad mood, go talk to a Leo moon. They'll make you happy. It'll boost your mood right back up. Yeah, so because of that, they make great leaders. They do great in groups. They can sometimes seem a little bit bossy, though, just because they kind of do know, like, what's up, but other people perceive it as, like, an ego thing. So if they don't keep themselves in check and they let that inner child kind of take over, it can seem like a bossy kid. Like, no, I want to do this, or no, or you do that, or blah, blah, blah. So that can be the negative side. Every sign has its negative traits, so that doesn't mean they all possess that. It just means you can. But they're very, you know, spontaneous. They want to just do things to keep them like that childlike mind, and that's important. So if you have a Leo moon, you stay young. No matter how old you are, you stay young forever. So it's a really good position. Vanity is their weakness, of course, because it's the royal card, you know. So they do have a special want for beauty and luxuries in their life. So that's just goes hand in hand with being a king or a lion, so to say. So they do want someone that's going to make them look good. You know, they're not going to just date anybody. They can be pretty picky when it comes to who they're dating. Just because they want to make themselves look good. Like, they don't want to walk down the street with someone that's going to jeopardize their reputation, if that makes sense. So if their reputation's at stake because of you, you're out. They'll cut you quick. So that's the bottom line for a Leo moon. They're not going to be with someone unless they're on the same level. So they have to have that same attitude as them. But then the odd part about it, Leo moons, they can be jealous, okay, of their significant other, but they go around and do a lot of flirting. So it's kind of like, because they need the constant reassurance. They love compliments. You can compliment a Leo and they're not a Leo moon, and they're not going to be all shy about it. They're going to be like, oh, thanks. They're like, I know. Like, that's a Leo moon for you. So complimenting them is one good way to get to their heart. Just feed them compliments all day, all day. They'll love it. They'll eat them up, just like cereal. Some famous Leos here, some famous Leo moons. Queen Elizabeth, Paul McCartney, and Clint Eastwood. So those are some of the famous Leo moons we've got. All right, next we have Virgo moon. Okay, so for Virgo moons are very precise. They're very organized. They're very intelligent people and very meticulous. These people would be great at I'm just like channeling like surgery for infants. Like, you know, their precision is so on point that it's like, if you need someone to get the job done right, go to a Virgo moon. They're going to get it done right. And most of the time they'll end up doing it because they know they'll do it better than you. So, and they're right. A lot of times, you know what I mean? So Virgos, they do have that gift of precision. They're the most skilled when it comes to precision. They utilize everything that they learn. So they don't just learn things to learn them. Like my moon sign, Gemini, I'm just learning like, oh, I can't get enough. They learn a ton too, but they actually take it all and they implement it all. So that's the important part. They question everything that they're told, okay? So it's like, they're also represented by Mercury like Gemini, so they need to get to the bottom of things. They want to know. So they're going to question everything, and just be ready for a debate with them, okay? So if you have an opinion, they will take it in. They'll listen to your opinion and everything, but just be ready for a rebuttal or a debate, and just know that most of the times they know what's up. And so Virgo moons, they tend to be right about, I'll give you guys a 97% of the time, okay? Because I have a lot of planets in my house of Virgo, and I'm Capricorn, so with a Leo rising, so I'm just going to say that. And a Gemini moon. So you Virgo moons, come at me. I'm just kidding. But they can be pretty skeptical, though. That's why they question things so much. It's like they need to see it to believe it type of thing. So they do need to be involved with it. They can't just be told something and then, oh, okay, it's a fact. No, they're going to research it. They're going to figure it out. So guarantee a Virgo moon will give you the right answer at the end of the day. Okay. They love discussing opinions and ideas. So it's like I said, a very debatable sign. They like to debate, and not just for arguing. They like to learn and take new concepts in and see what they can do with them. So that's important. So don't confuse them with being stubborn. It's just that they're they're a fact checker, okay? So they need to know the facts. It's literally like the seeker of truth is what a Virgo moon represents. So they're going to want to find out. They're going to want to get to the bottom of everything. Some people want to consider them pessimistic because they're always trying to rebuttal others' ideas. It's not that they're pessimistic, they're just realistic, okay? So they will take other people's opinions in, and they will gather the thoughts, and they'll, you know, dance around and have conversations with you about it. But they're not trying to be pessimistic. It does come off that way because, like I said, they're ruled by Mercury, which is the devil's advocate, messenger of the gods. It's here to bring the yin yang. It's bringing you both options. So people can try to look at this and just be like, man, you're just negative about everything. You're just, you know, but no, they really are, they're realists. So they want to get to the truth, and it just comes off as pessimistic. But yeah, they tackle issues with the most precision, and it can also make them a little bit of a worrier because of this. Not warrior, worrier. Okay, so they're worry warts. Okay, so worry can be a big thing for them because, especially if they don't have the answers to things that they want to know, it's like it eats them. Okay, it's the same thing for Gemini moon too, and we're both ruled by Mercury, so it's like we need to know. We need to know. They don't really like illogical people or just people that are kind of scatterbrained. They're also picky with friends because of this, so they want people that they can kind of intellectualize with, and you know, they're not just gonna befriend everybody. Like Gemini moon signs can get with each group and be the chameleon, but Virgo, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit more like, okay, this person is in my lane, this person's in my lane, okay, so we can all be friends type of thing. They can come off as very judgmental as well, and they can be, but they're always learning lessons from their experiences. So that's the thing, is like, they're gonna learn. So they might come off as judgmental of something that you did or not, but at the end of the day, they're gonna learn from it. So it does help them, as odd as it sounds. They're also not the most sentimental or gushy either. So they're not, it's Mercury ruled. So Mercury's not, like I said, it's not a benefic or a malefic. It's just everything. So they're not the mushiest, gushiest type of people. They're very intellectual, and because they have so much intellect, you can't really have both. I mean, you can have both feelings and intellect, but one's going to overpower the other, and because they're so intellectual, that's what overpowers their feelings. So, but they do give in very practical ways. Like, their way of love is service. So a lot of people will be confused by people that have Virgo in their charts. It's, you know, they think like, oh, like they don't love me, or, you know, they don't show me ways of love by doing this or that. But their way of showing love is by doing things for you. Okay. So, and it could be just like little things too, like fixing your car, like, you know, changing your tire for you, taking out the trash, doing the dishes, like things like that. Even though they're not like grand old gestures, they're still taking their part to try to help you out. So even like, say it was like homework, they'll be right there with you, like helping you get that A. Okay. And then that's kind of how they show their love. So you need to know your love language too. So some people might not understand them and might just think they're cold, or, you know, they get confused with being cold, but that's not the case. It's not the case. Another thing too is they are the #1 hypochondriacs. Okay. And I know this because I have a lot of Virgo energy in my chart. So how are you Virgo moons doing during this quarantine with all the viruses out there? Because I know one thing is Virgo moons are very clean. Okay, they already been washing their hands before all this stuff's gone down. So they are clean freaks, okay? So how you guys doing? Let me know how you're doing during this. Hopefully good. I'm sure you guys got like stocks of hand sanitizer and all that stuff. Or you already Googled some recipes and you know how to make it on your own, don't you? Yep, bet. So some of the famous Virgo moons, we've got Winston Churchill, JFK, and Mel Gibson. So those are a few of the famous Virgo moons that we've got. And our next moon sign is Libra. My Libras. They're ruled by Venus. Love sign, okay? So Libra moons are very romantic, glamorous. It's like it's a lot like Leo, okay? So they're a lot like Leo, but it's like a feminine version of Leo, so to say. They're very much about the arts. They have a love for beauty and just, you know, the finer things in life. So it's a lot like Taurus too in that aspect, that they are ruled by Venus, Taurus and Libra. So they do have that similarity, okay? Libra moons also have a immediate reaction to things that are like unpleasant. They kind of want to diffract things that are unpleasant. They don't really want to deal with it too much. So they'll try to spread light on it, which is, you know, that's a good thing. They do represent the balance scale. So if something's off, it's like they want to get it right. They want the scales to be balanced again. So that's really important for them. They love spending money. They love spending money on things that they like, and sometimes others' money too. So that's another thing with Libra moons. Because it's the scales, right? You and your partner. So it's like, let's make it even. But they like to buy things that make them happy. So they're not just going out to buy things because they need to get a couch, or they need to get this, or, you know, they need to get that. They're getting it because it makes them happy. And that's Venus. Venus represents all things that we love. They also, you won't ever catch them eating on like paper plates, okay? So they like to make everything into like a ritual. So if you're gonna eat dinner, like they have their nice tablecloth down. They want to have nice plates and silverware and cups, and even like when taking baths, okay? Like baths are a good way for Libra moons to unwind and just kind of get back to grounded. But their baths will have candles around their baths. They'll have some, you know, Epsom salts in there, and it's all about rituals with Libra moons, okay? So that's a big thing, and it's beautiful. Like, who doesn't want to make a ritual out of stuff? I think it's super cute. They are independent and open-minded. They represent the scales, like I said, so they want things to be fair. If there's not a fairness, then you'll kind of see them tipped off on their scale, and their mind's not in the right place in that. So things do need to be fair, and they're very, very giving. They're very giving people, so they expect it also in return. So they might not vocalize that to you. They just think like, hello, this person should already know this. Like, you give and I give, like, but sometimes they won't, or sometimes you don't understand that, and so you'll be thrown off, and then you might throw them into a weird mood, and all of a sudden you're like, what the heck happened, or what's going on? And it's because they didn't communicate the fact that they want things to be a little bit more even. So that's what you can always look into. You want to make sure that anything that they're giving you, they're kind of expecting the same in return. They're very rational though with their decision making. They always understand another person's point of view too, which I absolutely love. This is why I love Libras. They always take into consideration another person's point of view. Okay, so like, for instance, my cousin and I, okay, she's a Libra sun, but they do correlate in some ways with the moon sign. We can get in fights, you know what I mean? We'll get in fights and da-da-da, and you know, I'll be stubborn sometimes, or she will, whatnot. But there will always be a moment where she comes back down and is able to take the other person's perception into her own reality and literally feel from that person's point of view, and then they can adjust their reaction. So if that makes sense. So I love that trait about them, because not that many people do that or even care to do that, but they always do that. Like if they hurt somebody and they said something mean to you, guarantee you it's going to eat them up more than it did then the words probably even hurt you. Guarantee it's going to eat them up more. And pretty soon you're going to get an apology. So they don't stay mad too long. So that's a beautiful part about Libras. They also make good judges, okay? Because it represents the scales, and that's why you see scales in all the law firms, okay? So they make good judges because they put themselves in the other person's shoes. So that's extremely important. So I love you, Libras, for that. Thank you. But you guys are best with a partner that can help you make decisions, because decisions will be the death of you. It's like where to eat, where to, you know, like, I don't know. And like females already have a problem with that. So if you can find a partner that helps you with your decision making, everything will be smooth sailing with the Libra. They just have a hard time making decisions. You guys might be late to quite a few events too because of this. So you guys are known for being the late ones. Fashionably late, as they say, you know. But you guys love, ironically, with your head over your heart, okay? And this, I think, is good for a Libra because they are so loving that they kind of need something to ground them. They're an air sign, okay? So air, they're going to think with their head instead of their heart. So that's good because they're ruled by Venus, which is already, you know, a love sign. If they're followed just by their heart, that's where it can lead to the toxic situations like Cancer Moon might be in, okay? So it's good that they do choose to lead with their head instead. Yeah, the other thing is their love for love is more than their love for intimacy. So they almost just, they have a love for love. Like they just want to be in love type of thing. More so than being, it's not that they're not intimate people, because trust me, they are. But it's like the whole aesthetic. Just like I said, they like their rituals and they like the love of love. So that's their thing. So often it will take a Libra moon a while before they find a partner that is suited for them. So, and this is on their own decision. So they're not really getting hurt by this too often. They're just kind of like, okay, tried that, tried this. Okay, this is the one. So that's kind of how us, our lovely Libra moons are. You guys are the biggest flirts of the zodiac, I like to say. For your famous people, you guys have Sylvester Stallone, Walt Disney, and Marie Antoinette. All right. All right, so for the next sign, we've got Scorpio moon. All right, Scorpio moon. The most sexual, Scorpio. You know, Scorpio gets a lot of slander for being secretive and sexual and mysterious and so on. And if this is your moon sign, it's a lot easier than if it was your sun sign, okay? Because your sun sign means everyone can see it. Sun sees, okay? Your sun sign. Your moon is up here. So this can be more so, and it is a lot more hidden when it is your moon sign. But Scorpio moons are very spiritually inclined. A lot of them, it's represented by the 8th house, which actually represents astrology and spirituality. The 12th house, Pisces, too, mostly. But these people can have a gift of being psychic a lot of times. They have very intense emotions as well. So whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, they're going to be grand displays of emotions. And it's a water sign, so these emotions are very abundant, okay? One thing they do try to do, though, is they are the masters at hiding their feelings. So a lot of times you won't even know, okay, how they feel. Most of the time, you'll have no clue how they feel. And the thing is, it's because they're represented by Pluto. So Pluto is death and rebirth, okay? And so it's a difficult place to have your moon in Scorpio. It truly is. But the thing is, you have to learn to integrate this energy so that you can rebirth yourself and be able to have those emotions open without having to keep them hidden, okay? Because that's the biggest fear of a Scorpio moon, is to have their emotions out there in the open. Like being on a tabloid would be their worst nightmare. Scorpio moon, okay? So it's not the easiest sign. They're a little bit more jealous and can get angry, okay, with their loved ones, and it's because they hide their emotions. So if they were able to just talk a little bit more about their emotions and get it out instead of just repressing it, it'd be a little bit easier. So they are known for being a little bit more jealous, or, you know, some want to say possessive. But it does depend on the person and the other aspects of their chart as well. But they do have extremely strong passions for the things that they are driven towards, okay? So they're extremely passionate. And it's like you can see in their eyes, like people that are Scorpio, they have like this certain glimmer in their eyes. And it's like, it's a sexual glimmer, yeah, okay? But it's like, it's an intensity too. Like you can just see it in their eyes. Look at a Scorpio moon's eyes, or just any Scorpio, you can see it. And I say more so for the moon sign because it's their inner thoughts. If you want to know what they're thinking too, look at their eyes. Any water sign really, just look at their eyes. Pisces are a little harder, but we'll get to that. But they can dread any form of rejection. So that's the main thing. That's why they repress these emotions, because they don't want to be rejected. It's like the hardest thing for them. It becomes very painful when they're rejected. It kind of cuts them off. Like they want to just cut their feelings off at this point. So they try not to feel. It's like, you can't just not feel. You're going to feel. And because you're trying not to feel, now you're going to be angry. So, try to, if you're Scorpio moon, just try to resonate within your emotions and feel them so you can feel more connected and not so disconnected, you know? So it's a hard sign. It's a hard one to have your moon sign in. But when you hide from your feelings too often, this is what's going to slowly start to hinder your spirit and your spiritual progression. So you do need to be a little bit more vocal with your feelings, especially if it's with someone that you love and you trust. That's their biggest thing. If they don't trust that person yet, if there's no trust there, it's gonna be the Great Wall of China. Like, it's not gonna come down. You're never gonna break a Scorpio moon down unless they trust you, and they have to know they can trust you. So that's extremely important. Okay, so it might take a while if you're dating a Scorpio moon, or if you are one, just know that it's gonna take a while to peel the layers of that onion off. But you can get there. You just have to show them that you're just as willing to be committed to them as they are to you. And that fear and veil can kind of just dissipate from them, and then they're more comfortable. So not the easiest sign to get to know. But when they love hard. And they are some of the best lovers, okay? So, like I said, they do represent sex. They represent the private parts. All of us millennials, we all have Pluto in Scorpio. So it's death and rebirth to this whole era of everything that Scorpio represents. So that's why everything taboo and all this stuff like changed as soon as the millennial era came about, okay? Now my Gemini moon self is going to start talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. But these people, they're amazing observers. So a lot of times they just kind of sit back and observe. And that's where they get most of their information from, is they just observe everything. They won't say anything. They'll just sit there and observe and come to their own conclusions, and that's all they need to do. And they'll know a lot more about you than you think. Okay? Trust me. They will know a lot more about you than you think. But they have extremely accurate judgment because of this, because they are so observant. So it's a good trait to have at the same time. Because of that too, some people want to say, they can say that they're like blessed or cursed with phenomenal memory. So you can take it as you want. It's either blessed or cursed. But another thing too is that because they have such good memories, a lot of times what they'll do is seek revenge, and it won't be next week or tomorrow or something. It'll be like 5, 10, 15 years later, okay? Not all Scorpios, but that's that stinger coming out, okay? So you do them wrong, they're not going to ever forget about it. And most of them seek revenge. So that's just one of their downfalls. Not all of them, like I said. Once you get yourself in check, you don't have the negative traits. But the thing too is a lot of them have much harder like childhoods growing up or health issues. Tends to ironically be. So that's another thing with Scorpio moons. It's a little bit harder to deal with. For our famous Scorpio moons, we've got Beyonce, Aristotle, and Charles Chaplin. All right, and next we have Moon in Sagittarius. So my Sagittarius moons, you guys are ruled by Jupiter, okay? Jupiter's the biggest planet in the sky. It is the luckiest planet. It represents the guru, the teacher. So these people have good energy. They're always kind of lively and happy, okay? So this is a good position for your moon to be in. It's actually a really good position for your moon to be in. They're very quick and sharp-minded. They have great insight and the ability to get things done quick. So if you have a task that needs to be done, give it to a Sagittarius moon and it'll be done quick. And it'll be done good. Maybe not the best, but it'll be done good. They do have a special like spark about them though. There's something with the Sagittarius moon, when you're talking to them, you'll just kind of notice they radiate a different type of energy that's kind of like they've got a different essence that's like a twinkle to them, okay? So it just adds a little bit of like life. They are the type to envision a dream and they're not bothered by anybody else's perception of their dream, okay? So people are going to try to tell them, oh, this might happen, or that, this, that. It's like, boop, boop, one ear out the other. That's not going to stop them. They're going to try no matter what. And most of the times, 98%, they're successful still. So that's a great trait to have, is not letting other people's energy kill your dreams. And Jupiter, you know, is a very expensive, it can fulfill your dreams is what Jupiter does. So it makes sense that they're not going to let someone else squash their dreams. Like, come on now. Sagittarius moons have lots of energy and enthusiasm, loads and loads of it. They're very sporadic. They can just be ready to get up and go and, you know, just do whatever, like whatever's fun. They're a fire sign as well, okay? So similar to Leo, they want to have fun. They want to get out there and do things. So they're also represented by travel, so traveling. And they like to go on journeys and adventures. Their whole life is about journeys and adventures. So it's a great place. Right now in quarantine, it's a little harder to have your moon in Sagittarius because you can't do much. And if you watch my other video, we've got the South Node in Sagittarius for the next 18 months. So not going to get into that here, but take a look at that video and see what that means. But travel and all that stuff is going to be restricted for the next 18 months. I mean, we've already seen it started, but nothing's a coincidence, okay? But these people, yeah, they're fond of traveling. They're also fond of new people, places, things. So they like to keep their horizons and everything, you know, very open. They're not just stuck to one thing, one place, you know, they're very vast. So they're awesome. They're awesome friends. They're good people to be around, and they normally have a lot of different friend groups as well, kind of like Gemini moons. Money's also not something that they're really, like, they don't just try to hold on to money. Like, they make money, yeah, like, we need to make money, but they're not worried about losing it. And I think that's one of the most important things. When you're focused on, like, money, it doesn't really come. Okay, so the fact that they're not, they use their money for fun things. They go out and have fun. They're not worried about it because it's going to come back to them. So they're not sitting here stressed out about $40 on this and that. No. They're going to make more money soon, so they don't care. They're going to go have fun. So respect for you guys for that one, because us Capricorns, okay, man, we need that security. So I'll tell you. But you Sagittarius moons, you guys are great charmers. You guys know how to put the charm on, okay? So a lot of friends, a lot of people are drawn to you guys because of that. You also have a special way with words. And it's like, you guys just have a good sense of humor. So you have a good way of coming off to other people that other people just stay intrigued by you and kind of want to keep engaged with you, okay? You perceive the best in people, though. So that could be good and bad. It's good because, yeah, like, why would you just hate someone because of one mistake they made? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. You guys do see the best in people, even though through their faults. So that's a very admirable trait. Right on, Sagittarius moons. Love that sign for Sagittarius moons. Some of the harder aspects for Sagittarius moon sign, love is more of like an adventure for them, more so than like an actual thing. Like everything is an adventure for them. So is love. So they can be a little harder to tie down in a relationship, okay? They kind of want to get out there and do their thing for a while. Because of this need for adventuring, they could sometimes be reckless, sometimes a little careless. Not always on purpose, it just tends to happen that way. And a lot of times it's because they trust their luck, and they are lucky. It's ruled by Jupiter, so you guys have a lot of luck that comes in your life all the time, but you can't rely on that luck. So it's when you start to just rely on that luck is when it will show you that, hey, sometimes life isn't just lucky, okay? And that's when you guys will get in a little bit of trouble. So you got to have the polar opposite all the time. So just, keep it all in balance and it's all good. So regardless that Sagittarius moon can sometimes get themselves in trouble, they quickly bounce back. So they're not one type to just sit there and stay gloomy for so long. They bounce back eventually, and it doesn't take too long. Some signs will take a lot longer. Another thing is when they criticize something, they do it so elegantly that it's not offensive. So they're able to kind of tell you like, hey, this and this is what you need to fix. I can't even like fake something because I'm Capricorn, Leo, Gemini. It's like, yeah. No, I'm not going to even try to speak on the behalf of a Sagittarius moon. But when you guys do have some criticism to give to somebody, people don't take it to heart. It's not like you stabbed them, you know what I mean? It's like you have a way with your words to where people still respect you for criticizing them. So that's why it's like the teacher too. The other thing, just know that if you're dating someone that has a moon in Sagittarius, they do need space. They need their independence. Love for them is an adventure, so you want to keep everything kind of fun and, adventurous. But they can be a little hard to tie down because of this. So don't be surprised if it takes a little longer to keep your Sagittarius moon all to yourself, okay? Some of our famous Sagittarius moons: Pablo Picasso, Neil Armstrong, Einstein, and Van Gogh. All right, and next we have our Capricorn moons. So for Capricorn moon, now this is the hardest place to have your moon sign. I'm a Capricorn sun. I get this energy very, very well. It's a lot harder having a Capricorn moon than a Capricorn sun though, okay? Because this is how our mind works. So Capricorn moon, it's the opposite of Cancer, okay? Cancer rules the moon. So at the opposite end there, it's like you kind of have to learn how to integrate emotions into your life. Like Capricorns can be considered cold or detached. And it's because the moon's in its opposite house. So it's like we have to learn how to integrate these emotions. So a lot of people can misjudge Capricorns and just think that they're like mean people, when in all reality, Capricorns are the most sensitive. Believe it or not. I'll admit it. We are the most sensitive signs, okay? So having a Capricorn moon, it's like you have that strength because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It's ruled by structure. But the inner self, the moon sign, can be a little bit more gloomy here, okay? So it's not the easiest to have. It's because our emotions are represented by the moon, and Capricorn is a little bit detached from emotions. So trying to integrate emotions with a Capricorn moon is like, it's not emotional already, and then you're trying to like force emotions into it. So it's not the easiest spot, okay? They do have a lot of obstacles to overcome, and a lot of it's within themselves. And this is the only way they truly find happiness. So they have to literally do a lot of inner work to find their happiness, because if not, they can stay in the state of gloom. They have very alert minds, though, if not the most alert. They're eager to learn. They're super interested in putting their learnings into action, though. So they're not just learning things for the fact of learning, like a Gemini moon. They learn things, and then they use what they learn, and they put it into practice. Who is it? I think, was it Thomas? I think it's Thomas Edison. Yeah, Thomas Edison is a Capricorn moon, and look at all the stuff he learned, and what did he do with all his knowledge? He integrated it, and look what we've got. You know what I mean? So they're not just one to sit there and learn. They have pride in learning, and then they have pride in actually taking what they learn and showing you that they learned from it. So that's a big thing for them too, and being recognized for their accomplishments is very important for them. Because a lot of times it's like Capricorn is literally considered the scapegoat. And ironically, we are considered the goat in astrology, greatest of all time. But the scapegoat, it means it's the one that people point at. Like when something goes wrong, it's like, oh, immediately. Capricorns get the blame most of the time. So they kind of have this art, like this is how they feel mentally a lot of the times. And it's not easy. It's a hard position for your moon to be in. But with this, they're very organized people. They're ambitious to a T. I mean, the most ambitious. If one thing they're going to do, if they're going to already have a gloomy mindset, guarantee they're going to stay busy and getting to a goal and being ambitious, because they don't want to stay in that mindset. They want to get out of it. So they are definitely the most ambitious for that, and self-sufficient, 100%. They enjoy their solitude. So I'll admit it, I enjoy my solitude as a sun sign Capricorn. But for them emotionally, they need to be away from people sometimes, completely by themselves, to where they can just relax. So solitude is huge for them. So this quarantine is probably a little bit hard and good for them at the same time. Like, it's probably helping them, but at the same time, they're stuck in their heads too in quarantine if you're not at work. So it's like, it's not the best place to be when you're constantly trying to be, it's like, it's a perfectionist in a way. Not so much as Virgo moon, but for ambition, okay? So they want to get goals reached. They want to make their goals. And if they're in quarantine in a gloomy space of mind, this is not an easy spot for it to be in. I do know, though, from experience, it seems that Capricorn females, Capricorn moons, like the females, are badass, man. They are just like, they're so strong. They're so, like, you would never know that they have that gloom. Ever. Like, you just wouldn't know. They're so hardcore, you know what I mean? But the males, ironically, it's the complete opposite. Like, they seem to be, they just sit there and talk about their gloom. I know so many Capricorn male moons, and I'm a Capricorn sun female, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, like, down talk anything. I'm just saying we can all learn to integrate the energy and use it in its positive ways, but it just seems that the females, for some reason, are able to do that a little bit better than the males that have this. So it is a little bit harder for males that have Capricorn moon, okay? So from my experience personally. There's a haunting feeling, it's weird, that Capricorn moons have of, like, responsibility. Like, there's always a task that they need to fulfill. So that's the ambition, like I'm saying. There's that ongoing, like, I need to get something done, like I have to succeed here. So if they're not doing something to keep them on track with their goals, that's when you see them get in that gloomy state of mind. So as long as they stay busy, they're pretty good. But sometimes the determination of a Capricorn moon can become obsessive, and all of your hopes can be pinned in one direction. And so it's like you're only focused right here. And that's what'll lead to the depression. So, you know, try to get out of that one track frame of mind, and try to not let it get there, okay? But like I said, these people are the most amazing leaders. They have to make an imprint on the world is the biggest thing to them. If they don't leave some sort of imprint on the world, they don't feel complete. So if they're not doing that even on a daily basis, that's kind of when the gloom kicks in, okay? Money's important for the sake of status. So Capricorns make money. Capricorns make money, okay? And a lot of people are like, oh, they're just all about money, you know, that's all they care about, and blah, blah, blah. Capricorns need money more so for the fact of having security and knowing that if the world is crumbling, they want to be prepared, okay? Capricorn moons, though, especially, they want to have a status. Like, they want to be able to show that they are someone. So that's what making money to them more so is. It's not just so they can go buy all this lavish things. Like, yeah, that can come with it too, but they're not just out here trying to be like flaunt, depending on your other signs in your chart. But typically, a Capricorn moon is getting money for status. They want to be recognized for their efforts, their hard work, and that's it. They just want to be recognized. Yeah, some of you guys would never know it, maybe, you know, assessing your Capricorn moon friends, that they can be rather insecure, and they can also be like have feelings of loneliness. And this is because they like their solitude, and this is because they don't want to dampen other people with their feelings. They don't want to, like, you know, project all that on other people. They'd rather keep it to themselves, and that's kind of why they get in these states of mind, okay? Their biggest fear, though, is being abandoned, or like being with someone that they love and that person not loving them back anymore. So that is the biggest fear for a Capricorn. And that's why I say, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Capricorns are so cold and so this, but it's like, really, they are the sign of, like, we just want to be in love and comfort, and we just want to know that person loves us back. And it represents the father, okay? Capricorn does. So it's there to take care of everybody and help, and you know, it does a lot of that, but they just want to know that they're not going to be abandoned. Like, that's one of their biggest fears, believe it or not, okay? So because of that, they're extremely loyal. If you're dating a Capricorn moon, you can guarantee that person is going to be with you probably longer than they should. Like, if it's time to cut it already, like, you're going to have to be the one to do it, because they most likely won't. They're going to try so hard to make it work and make it last. They don't give up. They're not quitters. Capricorns don't quit. Another thing is they tend to find love a little bit later in life. Finding love throughout youth, it just doesn't end up working out that way. They need to kind of mature a little bit and go through a few relationships and feel secure before they're ready to fully settle, okay? So most of them you won't even see in real relationships till, like, they're in their 30s, honestly. Some of them choose to stay single forever, and that's literally by choice because of maybe that fear of abandonment. So it's not always that good. But when they are in a secure relationship, like I said, they are the most committed to making it work. They are the most committed to making it work. They are the best partners, and they give. Like the father sign, okay? They are givers. Like, if they love you, you'll know it, because they want to give you the world. They want to make sure you're happy, that you are literally on a pedestal for a Capricorn moon. And not only their loved ones, like their friends even. Even if it's not giving things, it's giving their emotions and their time, okay? So we sit, like, Capricorn moons will take on everybody else's grief, and they'll listen, and they'll have, you know, things to say to help them. But it's like, really? They just sat here and took on all that grief while they're already that type of a person. And it was just to make sure that you feel better. So they will literally suffer to make sure you're okay. So it's a hard position to have your moon sign in. But you guys are freaking awesome, okay? I love my Capricorn moons. And for our famous Capricorn moons, we've got George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and my favorite, Lucille Ball. I love Lucy. So you can see how Lucy used her humor, you know, in adverse. So anyway. Next, we've got Aquarius moons. Okay, so for my Aquarius moons, it's a good spot to have your moon in, because Aquariuses are able more than any sign to detach from their emotions, okay? So when the moon represents our emotions, it can be overwhelming to an extent, like kind of how Capricorn's is, and some of the other signs, you know, kind of be like all over the place. But with an Aquarius moon, they're able to keep it under control. They're rational thinkers. They're they're the humanitarian, okay? So they're always helping other people. They are rational. They're intuitive, imaginative. They're well balanced with like their senses, and they're very accurate with their senses. They do have intuition, you know, really good intuition. They're considered the alien, you know. They deal with things in a scientific, open-minded type of way. Not so much with feelings. Like, feelings to them are alien. Like, what are feelings? Not saying they don't feel, you know what I mean? It's just that they don't get wrapped up in their feelings, and believe it or not, a lot of people consider them cold, because they have a hard time expressing their emotions. This is the #1 sign that has the hardest time to express their emotions. And it's not that they don't have emotions. It's just like, they'd rather you just like ESP them and just like know what they're thinking. And it's like, because I have Venus in Aquarius, so I get this energy, and that's my love sign. So it's like, with the moon in Aquarius, when you're trying to vocalize your feelings, it's almost like you feel like a caveman. It's like, me feel love, you feel too, like that's how it feels in their head when they're trying to express how they feel. It's really weird. It's the opposite side of Leo, and Leo is of the heart, okay? And Aquarius is the water bearer, okay? They're actually not a water sign, they're an air sign. This is why they can detach from the emotions. The water signs are the ones that, you know, tears, it's the most emotional. Air signs can detach and float above it. So they're the water bearer, and what they do is they bear water for one person, then they go to the next. Okay, next person. This person's over here, hey, I didn't get my water, you know, or can I get some more? I just finished mine. It's like, yo, I got to keep bearing water. I've got to keep going. So that's what I mean by having like a little bit of lack of emotions. It's, they cared, they gave you water, but they're going to make sure everyone's taken care of. They're not going to go back now and give you extra. Does that make sense? But they don't have extreme emotions because of this. So that's a good thing, because you're not going to see them extremely pissed, but you're not going to see them extremely excited or, you know, all of the different aspects of emotions will not be at their extremes. So it's a good place to keep you level and balanced, especially if you're like a water sign and you have an Aquarius moon. It's going to make it a lot easier because you're already very emotional. This will balance you out. They're very witty in conversations. Moon and Aquarius people love to talk about the world and all the mysteries of the universe, and that's what intrigues them, okay? So if you're trying to win over an Aquarius moon, just keep the conversation going. Talk about the weirdest stuff. Guarantee you they have something to say, or they've already heard it. You can learn a lot from them. They've got a lot of interesting stuff. But they're very people-oriented because it is the water bearer. They want to help everybody. And not only people. The funny thing is with the Aquarius moons, I noticed that they want to actually help even animals. Like, you'll notice a lot of them either have a lot of animals or they've, like, fostered a bunch of pets. They like caring for things. They just like to take care of things. They just have a hard time showing their love, but they will take care of, like, 10 kids at once if they need it and adopt 3 dogs that came with it. Like, that's how they are. But they just have a harder time at expressing it, like, with their mouth. Okay? Aquarius moons are not very practical or down to earth, ironically. So that's one thing. Another thing is they can be interested in, like, a variety of different subjects, a lot like a Gemini moon. But they have so many different, like, aspects that they're looking at that they can often just, okay, I'm over this thing. And then they move on to the next subject. So they don't always stay focused on their field of thought. They're just interested in it all. So that's the hard part too as well. They usually promise a little bit more than they can prove to you. So that's another thing. I mean, they have good intentions, but when it comes to fulfilling them, it doesn't always come out as planned for some reason. But their intentions are there. So that's, that's the most important part. They're drawn to unusual people, places, and things. So, and you can normally notice, like, an Aquarius moon will have something different about them. Like, they might have purple hair, or they might have, like, some, like, funky tattoo on their forehead, or, whatever. There's something unique about them, period. They stand out. They stand out in a crowd. The one thing is they can become very fickle in love, because they have a hard time of expressing their emotions, but they also need intellectual conversation. They need to be with someone that meets them on the same intellectual level, because they are not such a feeling sign. They're more so about intellect. So they need people that connect with them mentally in order for it to work. So if you are dating or looking into dating an Aquarius moon, know this now. They're not going to be the most affectionate and grand displays of love, but they're very intellectual, and they will sit there and you guys can talk and talk and talk, and nothing you can do will be weird to them. Like, they won't be weirded out by you ever for anything. So that's awesome. You can be yourself around them. That's very important, okay? Because it's the opposite of Leo. They want you to be kind of like them, you know what I mean? But with Aquarius, you can be yourself. You can be weird as you want, and they'll still love you. And for them, a partner is also a best friend. So it's not just a lover. Like, they need to have a best friend within that partner for it to be perfect. And some of the famous Aquarius moons are Muhammad Ali, Princess Diana, and Timothy Leary. What? So humanitarian, Princess Diana, Timothy Leary, crazy and awesome. So those are some of your famous people. Those are some awesome ones. So right on. Last but not least, we have our Pisces moons. Okay. So Pisces moons. Pisces is the most psychic sign in the entire zodiac. They're the 12th house. 12th house is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So it represents love and music, and it's literally connected to a higher source. So it's like love with no eyes, no boundaries, no, restrictions. So because of this, though, they can get taken advantage of a lot. So our Pisces moons, they're very much about people pleasing. They want to make everybody happy, especially if it's someone they're dating. Like, they will risk their happiness just to make sure you're happy all the time, every time. And they'll try to fake a smile. Like, they're literally little angels here on this earth. It blows my mind. Some of the best people, I swear. But they have a very deep emotional depth to them. Okay, and because they are the last sign, it represents self-undoing, spiritual fulfillment. So it can also represent delusions, though. So a lot of times, like what I say is, like, if you have a Pisces moon, you're either a spiritual guru or you're most likely a drug addict. Like, there's kind of no in between for Pisces moons. And this is where your mind is, so it's kind of hard. And the reason is, it's because they kind of look at everything, they look at the world through like a set of rose-colored glasses, okay? So everything they perceive is like romanticized, and they filter it that way. And you know, they want everything to be that way because that's how they know things should be, but that's just not the reality of life. And so a lot of times, because of this, they can be very hurt. They interpret things how they wish they were to be instead of how they really are. So it can kind of leave them confused. That's why it can also be the sign of like delusion. And because of this, a lot of Pisces use escapism. So escapism through drugs was a non-healthy way. Some escape through romantic partners because they have a love for being in love. And others, the smart way is to escape through music, okay? So music is key for Pisces. Like, you guys need music to have a good mood. Like, if their music was not invented, I don't know if we'd have many Pisces. And the amount of Pisces that have added to the musical world is like crazy. Look up famous like Pisces that are singers, or it'll blow your mind. Like, it's some of the best ones that we've got, okay? The moon signs, they hide their emotions though. And they do it really well, okay? They're really, really good at hiding their emotions. And because of this, even the most realistic Pisces moon still feels the need to escape in some way. So it's like they, like, no matter what, even if their life seems all perfect, because they have this, you know, they feel too much. They feel too much, so they hide these feelings. And because of this, it's like they need some type of outlet. So depending on what that is, you know, there's always, for no matter what your sign is, Pisces moon, there's some type of outlet that you have. So don't be surprised if maybe you had problems drinking at one point, you are having problems with substances now, whatever it may be, toxic relationships, whatever. It's just, they need a form of escapism, okay? They also, they're the most imaginative, okay? So they kind of want to go into this world of private imagination that gets them out of this real world that's harder to deal with, because it is harder to deal with for them. And it's harder to deal with for all of us, but they have these rose-colored lenses that don't come off. They just don't. And so because of this, they're hurt a lot. Okay, so that's why they hide their feelings a lot. And you can see it on their face, though. Like I said, you can see it on their face. A little harder with Pisces because it's the last sign of the zodiac. So they literally embody traits of every single sign of the whole zodiac. But they feel so deep, and they have a lot of self-undoing to do this life, okay? But it can be the most spiritual sign in the whole zodiac, so it's very important. It's the 12th house, which is the most spiritual. They're also the most artistic. Anything of the arts, music, like I said, Pisces moon are excellent at that. So a good way probably to like balance yourself would just go draw. Do something creative with art, listen to music, those sorts of things. Anything with the arts is going to help you guys be in a more peaceful place. So that's what you guys need. You guys are absolutely gifted with vision and imagination. You guys are able to literally unveil the real world from the spiritual, and you're able to know things that others just can't perceive. And it's funny because you guys don't even know how. And like a lot of Pisces I know, like I'll get into conversations with them and, you know, we'll be talking about this and that, and they just start channeling things from like stuff that I say, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. They're always connected to the higher source. Whether they are aware of it or not, they are. And so if you just get into a talk with the Pisces, it'll blow your mind. Like, it'll blow your mind when you realize how much they're able to obtain, and they just have such a vastness to them, okay? So they're just so spiritual, but a lot of them don't even know it. And that's the crazy part. Like, Jesus was, okay, the fish. Pisces represent the fish. Jesus was a Pisces, okay? Some say he was a Capricorn, but they call the Capricorn the devil in astrology too, so not going to get into that. But, okay, if Jesus was a Pisces, that makes a lot more sense. So the thing, though, too, it is one of the harder places to have your moon sign. And the reason being is because the real world is just not easy for them, okay? They are connected to higher source, like I said, at all times, with or without their knowledge. So this world here is just like, this is a dreamland to them. So they need some form of escapism. Sometimes a lot of Pisces moons, you might not even know it. They might be addicted to drugs and you have no clue. Like, they're around you, hanging out with you while they're on them, and you don't even have any idea. Because that's how good they are at hiding things. Straight up. Also, they do have a problem with people that have stronger personalities, just because these personalities kind of want to, like, they take advantage of them. So it just cut out. So Pisces moons, they also do have a problem with people with more aggressive personalities, okay? Because these people tend to take advantage of them or try to boss them around and such. And, you know, Pisces just doesn't want to deal with confrontation. So a lot of times they'll just kind of do it just to not have to deal with the drama. And so because of this, they get walked on a bit, but don't think they're stupid and don't think they're not aware of it, because they are. They just put up with it, sadly, okay? So be nice to those Pisces moons. Be nice to them. They're sweethearts. They represent the dreamer, okay? So you guys have intense dreams as well. So you guys might have psychic dreams. You might have a lot of deja vu. Your dreams are very important. Pisces moons, you guys actually do need extra sleep too, okay? 100%. 8 hours is not enough for you guys. And that's just the truth. Like, you guys need about 10 hours, 12, you guys are really good. But 8 is like, it's not that great. You guys need more sleep than most. And, you know, we're also mystified by dreams. And that is something that we still don't understand, you know, completely. And it is connected to some other realm. So that says a lot that Pisces are the dreamer. So it's a good for that aspect, but that's kind of why they want to stay in that dream world, I think. You know, they want to stay in that process where everything's just kind of okay in that dreamland. So when they get back to reality and they wake up, they're like, oh, I'm in a nightmare now. So it's like a little bit harder to life for them, okay? They do work, though. They will work their butts off, okay? They do work their butts off, and they're very unselfish. They will give. So people take advantage of this a lot of times, okay? And they're aware of it, but they're still going to keep giving. That's just the type of people that they are. Making final decisions for them can cause them so much anxiety and conflict. They don't want to have to make the final decision. So they need a partner that's a little bit more, not aggressive, but just a little bit more assured with their decision making, and can kind of help them along, okay? Because they can just get a little bit lost, because sometimes they'll even mistake dreams for reality sometimes. Like, they'll be talking and be like, oh, this and that happened the other day, and then someone's like, wait, what? I was just with you that day. Like, oh, no, that was a dream. Like, oh, okay. So they're the dreamer. Gotta love them. But yeah, they can, like I said, get completely lost in drugs, sadly, because escaping this reality sometimes is all they can do, because a lot of them just can't deal with their emotions. So It's a hard place to have your moon sign. Be nice to our Pisces moons. They are very gifted and sweet. They're the most romantic. They love being in love. They're always thinking about you if you're their significant other. They're just big sweethearts. Okay? So I feel for you Pisces moons. I have Neptune on my sun, so my energy of Pisces and Capricorn is integrated. So I get you guys, okay? I get you. For your famous people, Martin Luther King Jr., Frank Sinatra, Edgar Allan Poe, Elvis Presley, Leonardo da Vinci, and Michelangelo. So look at all of those great names right there. Like those, out of all the celebrities I think I've listed, that's got to be the best list right there. So, thank you guys for listening. This went on much longer than I thought. I knew it because of my Gemini moon. Would be gabbing away. But I hope this helped you guys. Let me know. Drop some comments if I was on point, if you have any questions. And look below for different links and info, where to follow me. And I hope this was a little bit helpful for you guys with learning about your moon signs. I love you all. I'm your spiritual gardener. Have a good night.